Indie Mogul.
They might call themselves the not ready for primetime players, but the Saturday Night Live cast has certainly proven they can make it on the silver screen. The latest SNL movie, MacGruber, hits theaters May 21st, so to celebrate, here's a closer look at its legacy. Let's get started. Lorne Michaels and Dick Ebersol brought this sketch comedy show to NBC in 1975. That makes Saturday Night Live one of the longest-running shows on television ever, with almost 700 episodes. That's one powerful brand. In fact, Saturday Night Live is synonymous with American comedy, giving many of the genre's biggest stars their first big break and honing their talents. And while the SNL empire has successfully expanded into late-night and primetime television, one of the first mediums it conquered was one of the most difficult: movies. Interestingly, the first SNL movie stars weren't characters from a sketch, but a unique musical group founded by SNL comedians Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. A blues enthusiast, Aykroyd spread his interest to Belushi via jam sessions after SNL tapings. Soon the duo were singing around town with other groups and eventually formed their own band, which debuted on SNL as the musical guest in 1978. But since the Blues Brothers were an actual band that actually sang, they began to find success outside of SNL. They released their first album also in 1978, which reached #1 on the Billboard 200, went double platinum, and a few individual songs went on to be top 40 hits. Hollywood took notice. Universal Pictures decided to make a movie about the Blues Brothers, and Aykroyd sat down to write his first screenplay ever. It came in at over 300 pages. Director John Landis, coming off of National Lampoon's Animal House, pared down the script, and the Blues Brothers movie came out in 1980. It grossed $57 million in the US and $115 million worldwide in 1978 dollars. It's the 10th highest grossing movie musical of all time and the 10th highest grossing road trip comedy of all time. But even more importantly, it showed that audiences were game to watch their favorite SNL characters not just for 5 minutes in a sketch on television for free, but to pay to see them in a live-action movie. And the biggest SNL movie was yet to come. In 1980, Lorne Michaels decided to take a break from the show and left to work on other projects. But without Michaels to guide it, SNL faltered. Luckily for NBC, Michaels returned to save the show in 1985. And as the show got back on track, Lorne Michaels returned to movies with Three Amigos, which he co-wrote and produced. The movie starred SNL cast members Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short, but since the Three Amigos aren't from the show, it's not an official SNL movie. However, in the early 1990s, a sketch debuted on Saturday Night Live that seemed to have what it takes to make it on the silver screen: Wayne's World. So, continuing the tradition of letting a sketch's creator bring his work to the next level, Mike Myers co-wrote the script for the Wayne's World movie, which was released in 1992. It opened at #1 and went on to gross $121 million in the US, making it the highest-grossing SNL movie of all time. It even inspired a video game and popularized many catchphrases, including "That's what she said," long before Michael Scott ever uttered the words. The floodgates were open and SNL began to regularly produce movies. The 90s were the decade of the SNL movie. Coneheads, It's Pat the Movie, Stuart Saves His Family, A Night at the Roxbury, Blues Brothers 2000, and Superstar all played at a theater near you. 2 of those movies even helped launch the film career of SNL performer Will Ferrell. But after The Ladies' Man in 2000, SNL movies went on hiatus while the show continued to thrive, introducing new performers who would eventually become quite successful on SNL and then later in their own right. However, the next SNL movie would come from an unlikely but ultimately perfect candidate. MacGruber debuted on the show in 2007 as mini-sketches peppered through an episode. Parodying the popular TV series MacGyver, MacGruber is one of SNL's shortest sketches. But there's brilliance in simplicity, and in 2009, Pepsi became one of MacGruber's biggest fans. In the ultimate team-up, both MacGruber and MacGyver, revealed to be MacGruber's father, joined forces for 3 Pepsi commercials. The commercials proved to be quite popular, and Pepsi even re-ran one during the Super Bowl. So SNL once again continued its movie tradition and gave the comedians behind the sketch, Will Forte, Jorma Taccone, and John Solomon, the green light to bring MacGruber to the silver screen, the first SNL movie in 10 years. What's your favorite MacGruber minisode, and how do you think he'll stack up to the rest of the SNL movies? Write your thoughts down below, and be sure to check back with Beyond the Trailer when MacGruber hits theaters May 21st.